I'm Carrie Adams, and you're listening to Carrie's Connoisseurs, coming to you from Solid Gold Podcasts. Here we talk to the movers and shakers, the drinkers, the dreamers, and all the people who make it happen in the liquor and luxury industries from around the world. Well, hello everybody. Today is Monday the 9th, I think. Does not that it matters. Welcome to Carrie's Connoisseurs. In studio with me, I've got Heidi Duminy. I think I know you as Heidi Vine.
Or Rosenthal, maybe.
Or Rosenthal, there's too many. Welcome to Carrie's Connoisseurs.
Thank you,
for
Carrie.
coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.
So Heidi is the principal. She's the head girl of the Cape Wine Academy in South Africa, and she's been doing that since 2020, very successfully so. It's not an easy job to do. It's on your hands and knees begging and pleading for money. It's on your hands begging and pleading for students. And lecturers and everything. But she's more than just that. I've known Heidi for, we won't say, it's going to give away.
Many vintages.
It's going to give away loads of vintages, good and bad. She was the Veuve Clicquot girl, which is when I first met you, I think.
That's right.
You were the Veuve Clicquot girl, and boy, was she ever a Veuve Clicquot. She walked, talked, breathed, drank, smoked, lived, dreamt. Veuve Clicquot. And we went to France together.
You went
I went with Karen Henschel, maybe.
Correct. You went with the sales team.
I did. We had a gorgeous time. She is the quintessential Veuve Clicquot girl, and Tim Hutchinson, I think he must still feel the loss of that energy that you brought to DGB. Although DGB, how brilliant. They just got another award.
They're on the
day.
rise. They're brilliant.
That's Tim Hutchinson. We love him.
Yes.
He does his stuff. He's a fabulous guy.
Amazing leader.
So you worked with DGB for how long, Hyde?
10 years. It was a great experience.
And really established herself as the bubbly lady. I mean, if Peter Ferreira is Bubbles Ferreira, the masculine, he's the divine masculine, you're the divine feminine, because you really are Mrs. Bubbles of South Africa. First love, only love, forever love.
Well, I always like to say I really like white wine, I love red wine, but I have this mad passionate affair with Bubbles.
You know, I keep on telling everybody, keep that passion for the bedroom, Heidi. What does Andrew feel? That you're more passionate about a bottle of Veuve Clicquot? Anyway, maybe you do actually, truth be known, we do get more fun out of a bottle of Veuve Clicquot.
Shh, don't tell them. No,
Bubbles is your passion.
It is. It was really at DGB where I was exposed to representing, teaching and selling sparkling wine and champagne. And my heart will always be yellow. Veuve is always very deeply set in my heart. But when I was working with Graham Beck, that was amazing to be there from almost the beginning.
Yeah.
And it was really clear to me that champagne is all grown up and can look after itself, whereas Cap Classique is on such a great trajectory of its journey. You know, it's only 52 years into its journey, and there's such exciting things happening. And this is where we're carving a niche, we're carving an identity, we're really finding out what Cap Classique should be, not Cap Classique that tastes like champagne.
I think it's a bit of a... It's a bit of a journey that the whole South African wine industry is going on, really, if you think of it.
Correct.
Because we're so-called new world, which we aren't really.
No.
We're quite old world, but that's an argument that I have all the time. This thing's scratchy on my... Brennan, I've got these children who hook me up and wire me in and boss me about, and this thing is scratching me, Brennan. Anyway, I'm going to live with it. Just remember for next time, this is a scratchy mic.
You're itching with curiosity.
So we're not really new world as Argentina or Chile or Napa even. We're 400 years old in our wine industry. That's quite old already.
Correct.
But I think because of the beginnings of our wine industry and because of the forefathers, and the reason why we have a wine industry in the Cape is because of the French. Let's be dead honest. We wouldn't have one if it wasn't for those French Huguenots.
Well, and those Dutch settlers.
And those Dutch settlers. I mean, it was Europe really that brought vines to South Africa. And this, you can't cut yourself off from your own DNA. So their DNA was planted into the soil when they planted vines for us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it grew up.
Mm-hmm.
So we sort of took over that mantle from them, trying to be French in South Africa.
Oh, well, aspiring.
Do you know what I mean?
Is that, I think that it's also because they're so established. The European winelands are so closely related to history and culture through decades and millennia that they've really, really got a sense of self and a confidence that is tried and tested.
Well earned as well.
And well earned,
yeah.
and deserves the respect, the entire respect of an industry that strives for excellence. So they're always going to be the holy grail, right? And everyone's always going to try and be as good as that, but they don't have to replicate it to be as good.
So I was chatting to Anthony Hamilton Russell not so long ago, and I really do, you know, over the years we watch the trajectory of some of these wineries and some
regions.
Of them,
it's amazing.
And very happily for me, appellation control is sort of happening, what's the word, organically. It's just happening by itself, really.
Geographical.
It's just forcing itself in where it needs to force itself in. You can't plant daffodils in Cape Town, you know. So that's sort of starting to happen organically anyway. And his Pinot Noir and Port Clover, their Pinot Noir is so delicious. It's so not Burgundian. It's not. No matter which way you slice up that cake, it's just not going to be Burgundy, and we don't want it to be. But it is establishing itself as something very South African and very nice.
Mighty fine.
Mighty fine. But there are two categories that I always say South Africa sticks out, a tall poppy syndrome. And one is bubbles.
Yes.
And one is stickies.
Yes.
Sticky and port.
Yeah, and there's another one. There's another one. Brandy.
Oh, brandy.
Yeah.
We forgot about that, but that's
Brandy.
not really wine.
Well, it's
Sort of.
It's distilled
Distilled wine.
But it's another one.
And we do, and it's gorgeous. Some of that
Yeah.
brandy. If you think about how much you've got to pay for a bottle of cognac,
Correct.
and we should have Winnie here with us.
We should.
Winnie Bowman. If you think how much you pay for a bottle of cognac, and that you can buy a KWV 5-year-old even for, I don't know, 180 Rand or something, not even, hey?
Outstanding.
Just outstanding. Really, brandy. We should encourage everybody to drink more brandy.
We should.
We're going to be hunted out of town.
As we
Everybody
should.
says alcohol is dangerous. It is. Just do it in your own home.
But the same applies to Cap Classique. The relative value is off the charts.
Exactly. So that's why I've got you here. And here we are rabbiting on about all kinds of other things. But that's the sort of background of why I wanted to speak to Heidi. There are a couple of other things. We're going to speak about the Cape Wine Academy as well, because she is the head prefect there. And recently chaired the panel for the Amarim Cap Classique competition in South Africa, Amarim Cork. Should we even start talking about Cork?
No, not well. Amarim is amazing in supporting the category of Cap Classique and has been for 22 years. They've really backed the category. And 22 years ago, Cap Classique was nowhere compared to where it is now. And it's been an absolute pivotal part of giving it a platform. As a showcase of the progress year after year after year. Yeah.
Well, I jump from the rooftops and I shout and scream about Cork, and I always have done. And I've been very unpopular for many, many years. But, you know, everything, as I say, my life works in a circle. Everything is 360 degrees like that. And it all has to come straight back to where it was eventually. And I don't know, 30-something years ago when I entered the wine industry in South Africa, and everybody was saying, you've got to have the screw cap. Oh, screw cap, screw cap. Everybody used to go. And I still maintain, if you want screw cap, go and buy a bottle of Coke. Really, honestly. We don't mind having it on a...
There's a time and a place and a price point. And
we don't mind having it on a bottle of Coke. The guy at Coca-Cola didn't plant the Coke. He didn't spend hours puffing and blowing all over it. He didn't fall in love with that bottle of Coke. He didn't pray to it at night and say, please come out nicely in 6 months' time, you know. And he didn't do any of that.
Nope.
Nobody cares. There's no romance in a bottle of Coca-Cola. So give him a screw cap. It doesn't matter. But but the wine, we need to put that wine in a beautiful glass bottle. When I saw a plastic bottle of wine, I nearly had a heart attack. I said to the back, Simon Back, they had those PET bottles. Do you remember?
I remember.
No. Out came a plastic bottle filled with wine with a screw cap on the top. I mean, that honestly, I had to go to confession that Thursday.
So how did you feel about cans?
Cans. And I believe they're just setting up a storm all over Europe.
Yeah, they are.
Well, everybody says that.
Yeah.
I didn't see Chateau Lafite going under screw cap.
No.
And I didn't see the DRC quickly rushing to put screw caps on
I think
Eschazo.
I think it's a good thing that people try and do, because the more you try and do, the more we'll find our way, see what works and doesn't.
There is a time and a place for screw cap. You're going to the beach and you don't really want to take one of your corkscrews with you. It's easy, but then, I don't know, buy a box of wine. Hermetically sealed, it seals it better.
Correct.
I'd rather have a box of wine.
One of the great joys, I think, of wine is that it really has a way of jumping out the glass and straight into your emotions, your social rituals and things like that. So there's so much more involved in it than just opening a beverage and drinking it. And there's some people that do just open it and drink it without thinking, and it is just happens to
I know most of my friends. In the evening, you just have that screw cap bottle in the fridge when you're making dinner
or whatever it is.
It's funny how you just open it and drink it.
On tap. But yeah, I think that when we talk about fine wine and what we aspire to be, there's a whole bunch of those things that are so valid that you've just...
Yeah, so we're of the same opinion. I mean, you don't want to be one of those wine people who... I don't want to be one of those, but I am a bit of a purist, and I do believe in cork being the best closure for anything ever. It's just a gorgeous product. Have you ever seen and smelt those cork trees? They're gorgeous. So cork is where it's at, but we digress. Amarim run a competition for Cup Classique in South Africa every year for 20-something years, and we've just seen the results of this year's one. So let's unpack them a little bit. Laborie won. Laborie, unsung hero of the bubbly world, really, in South Africa.
Yes,
and we had a taste
under the radar.
Tell me about the competition.
So it was awesome. It is my favorite competition to judge because it's only Cup Classique. There's no sparkling. There's no other wine with bubbles in it whatsoever. It's only Cup Classique, and it's also the one where the most entries are received. So this year we had a record entry show of entries, which was 157, which is huge, because
it is a lot.
If you ask,
how many have we got in the country?
257
really?
at last Platter count. Yeah.
Gosh, okay. I wouldn't have said that many.
No, but that's what I was going to say. Ask most people
to
name
four.
10, and yeah, exactly.
There's
a big five.
There's Pongratz. Yeah.
But that is what's so exciting, is that I think that a lot of people are yet to discover how much there is to discover with Cup Classique. Cup Classique is not just Cup Classique.
Okay, so yeah, you've got that little blue light. You can do. Tell everybody Cup Classique. Why is it no longer Method Cup Classique?
Let's deal with the big M.
Tell everybody.
The big M in the room.
The swear word.
So, in 1992, in Swaziland, the Cup Classique Producers Association was formed, and they collectively decided to call a bottled fermented sparkling wine from South Africa a Method Cup Classique, which was meant to describe the bottled fermented traditional way in which champagne is made, but referring to wines made in the Cape. And with time, MCC has caught on. There's a lot of people who understand what MCC is, but go and Google MCC and you will find Melbourne Cricket Club. You will find a weird cult in India, but you don't get close to any reference to South Africa's most, proud bottle fermented sparkling wines. So the Cup Classique Producers Association has really gone on a drive to change people's reference to the product and not call it method Cup Classique, which is how it's made, but call it Cup Classique. It's like with champagne, is that champagne is made in the method Champenois, but you don't find the Champenois referring to their product as method Champenois. So we are really advocating for people to call the product Cup Classique on wine lists, in reference to it on social media. It is quite long to spell, and it's not CC, but it will do the category so much more.
So we can't call it CC anymore.
A CC?
Oh, we don't call it
CC, no.
Because we did call it MCC.
Because then we'd be carbon copied.
God's sake. Unless we offend somebody.
No, you can't.
We have to be careful.
The good news is that with the MCC and Cup Classique debate, or method Cup Classique, is that you can't be wrong.
No.
It's
so
just,
if I still say MCC every now and again,
then you're not
going to disown me as a friend.
No.
Okay.
I'm not going to disown you as a friend. I know, but old habits die hard. I mean, it took a long time.
Careful. It's like being in the company of the Pope, and you can't swear, you know.
But it's also, I mean, do you know how long it took for us to stop people calling it champagne? You know, so now there's a real understanding of the difference between champagne and Cup Classique.
Well, the Champenois started all of this bullshit in the first place.
Oh, yeah. But
Quite frankly, because Champagne, as we know, is a region. So they were a little bit possessive of their region, and they said, you cannot call your bubble stuff Champagne because it belongs to our region, which is geographical space of which we're very proud, and nobody else can call it that. We get that. Then the Portuguese started the same shit with port. But although I suppose it's relevant.
It's relevant because of the natural conditions.
So
you just will never ever be able to grow.
So what do we?
Grow grapes.
We could call ours Cape something or other.
We could, if the Cup Classique producers decided on that. But remember as well that that's not a legislative thing.
So Cup Classique is not Cape Classique.
No, it's not. I've seen that, and I've seen Cup Classique, as in a cup of classique. But we're not teasing anybody, and you can't get it wrong. As long as you've got bubbles in your glass,
who cares?
And it's our South African bottle fermented
This is badly
wines.
organised. I know it's Monday morning, and we're not allowed to drink on Monday mornings. In fact, we're not allowed to drink from Monday to Friday. But this is very rare for you and me not to have a bottle of bubbly in front of us. Eh?
That's why we're talking over each other.
I know. It's a typical girls' gaggle. Carry on with your Amarim competition.
So 157 entries is amazing. To give you an idea, other competitions, we only see about 30 to 40 entries. So it's a much bigger playing field. And over the years, it's grown and grown to a point where we decided then to ring fence the different styles of Cup Classique. So instead, other competitions, you'll taste them all together, whether it's a Blanc de Blanc, a Rosé, a Brut, a Demi-Sec, all of them come at you at once. Whereas with the amount that's presented in the Cup Classique challenge, we taste the Brut blends, so anything that's dry and made of 2 or more varieties.
And it can be any variety, white.
It can be any variety. Cup Classique
Well, not even white. You can have it in any colour.
Any colour, and any red or white grape variety can be used to make Cup Classique. There is nothing that's prohibited, and for a good reason, because we don't know if we've discovered the best varieties. Of course, most of them are made out of Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, because those are the ones that have proved work with by experience and by Champagne's experience. We know work well. But, you know, there could be other grapes that could be very interesting.
Well, there's a couple of Chenin Blancs that we like very much.
Yep.
That are sparkly.
Yep.
We like those. And there's even some Sauvignon Blancs that they've sparkled.
Sauvignon Blanc, Colombar, Pinotage, Shiraz, Pinot Blanc.
I've got to speak to you about Colombar. I think we've got to find another use for Colombar.
What?
Other than drinking. What do you think? Or is that very rude?
It's the same thing. I think that unless we try, we'll never know. So I think that the experimentation is adding to our experience and our discovery of what works and doesn't for us in South Africa.
Yeah. What do you think works best in South Africa so
Chardonnay.
Blanc de Blanc.
Yeah, Chardonnay by far. Well, that's definitely what the evidence shows, from what we see over the years with Cup Classique. There's a whole bunch of reasons for that, but mostly I think that our Chardonnay, when handled correctly from the vineyard all the way through the cellar and given enough patience and time on the lees, it's certainly proving to deliver the most exquisite Cap Classiques.
So now I think you've changed the rules, as you like to do.
I've done nothing.
What are the rules surrounding the aging of bubbles in South Africa?
So it took the Cap Classique Producers Association years to get it right, but they've increased the minimum.
You see,
yeah, I'm part of the family. I'm part of the family.
She's abdicating responsibility.
The minimum time on the lees has changed from 9 months to 12 months.
Okay, well, that's good.
And that's a great step in the right direction. Because if you're going to go to the trouble of putting a bubble into wine by fermenting it again in the bottle, then you really do want some sort of influence from that yeast to shine through. I mean, otherwise you might as well just go and carbonate it. Why waste your time? And that's the problem, is that on the entry level, on the lower end, we do see quite a few that are just very attractive, clean and bright, pretty.
Have you got a category for those? Have you got a category for carbonated bubbles?
No. No. This is only
Cap
it's
Classique.
only bottle fermented. But what we have done as well is, I think 3 years ago, a lot of the wines that are left on the lees for a brief amount of time, and I'm talking over 12 months, they were lost amongst the real heavy hitters and gorgeously aged wines.
Yeah.
So what we did is we separated. When we judge, we also separate the wines according to time on lees. So we first judge under 30 months on the lees, and then over 30 months on the lees.
That's fair.
And then they come back together, because they both have to, together in a class, have to prove their...
Go into the mix, yeah.
Prove their magnificence.
So if you're looking for nice bubblies for Christmas, here's your list. Lubbery Brut. Mm-hmm. It's just their straight Brut.
No, so their Brut got a gold, which is very good. So we also, amongst that, we had a record amount of double golds and golds. And
that's because Tim Atkin had been here just before.
No.
And we're all a bit sort of trigger happy when it comes to, hey, Timothy. Timothy and I sat in the studio for an hour talking nonsense and giggling one day.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
Now, I'll tell you what is that his results were, I was very excited by them. The other thing that you've got to, which gets a little bit tricky across the competitions, is the scoring bands are different, right? So Amarim 90 to 93, so to 92.899 is a gold. And in other competitions, it's a silver. And only 93 plus is a gold, right? So in other competitions, it's double gold in this competition.
Why are they
from
making
93.
it so complicated?
It's just
Do we need to take Joachim out for dinner?
No. It's a calibration of things, and to be honest, it's a standard way of scoring. It's the Veritas scoring range, and it's kind of the best understood that 90 plus is gold. But
I've always understood 90 plus to be gold. 80s were sort of silverish.
Silver.
And sort of low 80s were bronze, high
but
70s were bronze.
I think some thanks to the inflations of scores by other competitions and judges, is that I think that there was a need to etch it up in certain competitions. So in effect, we got a record amount of 12 double golds, so 12 wines that scored over 93.
It's fabulous.
And
so name a few so that the listeners know what to buy.
Okay, so in the Brut category...
Do I need to look them up on my computer? Because I don't remember them off my heart.
Yeah, maybe you should.
Should we look?
But 93, I'll tell you who won.
Because that's what the guys watch for. They like to know. It's coming Christmas time. You talk in the meantime about who won and what... and there's Claudia that we need to speak about as well.
Yes, so Claudia won the Brut category.
Okay, talk to them.
But what we did this year as well that was different is that instead of a panel of 5 judges, we had panels of 3 judges, and each panel of 3 judged the different classes. So the classes are the Brut blends, the Blanc de Blancs, which can be made out of any white grape variety, but only white. Then there is the Rosé category, the Nectar category, and the extended aging category. So we take special credence. It used to be called the museum category, but that sounds very decrepit and old and something you look at and not enjoy. So we changed the name of that to extended age category. And we took then 3 judges for each of those categories, and we sifted through, and the wines were given every opportunity to shine. So all the high silvers were considered for golds before they were dismissed. And so the next day, the second day, all 9 of us came together to judge the golds and the double golds.
So it's quite a rigorous sort of judging.
Very rigorous process, and it means that if you got a double gold, there were 3 gatekeepers to getting there and 4 gatekeepers to the trophy
so you
wine.
can know that if you're going to buy one of these things that we're talking to you about now, it's really been sort of put through its paces.
And especially when you're talking about sparkling wine, it's so different to other wines when you judge it, because not only does it heat up really fast, so you've really got to be quite...
I like to taste them when they're warmer, though.
Well, you have to, but that's the thing, because they change. So
you taste them when they're so freezing cold, and by the time you've tasted 20 bubblies, the nerve endings are sticking out of your gums and out of the roof of your head. And oh my God.
There's many additional things that you have to consider with. So the bubble obviously adds a different dimension. Acidity is high, so if you're sensitive to that, it's very difficult to judge bubbly. Temperature is a thing. There's so much going on, and also bottle variation.
Yeah.
So
I was going to speak to you about that.
As a result, we have to be so thorough to make sure that the wines are tasted. There's one person tastes from 1 to forwards,
backwards,
one tastes
forwards,
backwards, and inside out. And we taste again and again.
How many judges did you have, Heidi?
So there were 9 in total, and then we had another 3 associates, which was really great as well. But the 9 judges, all very experienced bubbly tasters. Yeah,
you need that. So listen, I've just had a look here now. Double gold Blanc de Blanc, if you've got your pens, or you can also all go online, but just to give you an idea, Simon sa Cuvée Royale. We're so happy because that's the granddaddy of bubbles.
And that's the 18. And the other thing I love about that is that it was... it's one of the first ones where Johan changed the style. So instead of being very, very rich and oxidative...
Wasn't Johan's father or grandpa or somebody was one of the first, hey?
He was the first.
He was the first bubbly man in South Africa.
Yeah.
So how nice is that?
That's how we call him, the Fonkelvader.
The Fonkelvader. And you can't get that wrong when you've had too much to drink. It could come out terribly. Oops. He's so nice though, isn't he? So there's Simon sa Cuvée Royale 2018 Blanc de Blanc. And we love Blanc de Blanc. So just to remind people who don't know... And I'm not trying to be patronizing in any way here, but Blanc de Blanc is white. Just Chardonnay.
White from white. No, it can
it's
be
white
Chenin.
From white. Can it be Chenin
it can be
anywhere? In France?
No, only here.
Yeah, here.
For Cap
So Blanc de Blanc across the world, if you order a bottle of Blanc de Blanc bubbles in anywhere, you're drinking bubbling Chardonnay. Okay, it's white from white. White wine from white grapes. Then there's Groenbeck Blanc de Blanc 2018. We like that because... As we say, Peter Ferreira,
outstanding.
Go a long way to find better bubbly. Newstead Blanc de Blanc. I was so surprised to see this result. Newstead, I had a home in Plettenberg Bay for many, 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 many years, and I really wanted to support the wine industry in Plet. Listen, that was quite a long time ago, the last time I went there, but I didn't think they were ever going to make brilliant wine.
No, you know what? You know what I love about Amarim as well is it really is a great platform for the the outliers to really present themselves.
To shine,
and when they do, they really, really do. So that's what happened with Domaine de Deux, Claudia, and Newstead as well. So Newstead won in 2020, and it was the first competition that entered, and it was the 2015 that won.
Wow.
And every single year they have featured with a trophy since then. So all 3 years. And they're consistently performing.
And all this tasting's done blind, hey?
All blind. And the other thing is, I mean, it is made by Anton Smol, who used to make wine at Valera, who really does, he knows
his stuff.
He knows a thing or two about bubbles.
Yeah.
But it's the time on lees, and it is just so pure and so edgy and so gorgeous.
Well, I tasted it with you the other night, and it's really very impressive. So
the 2016 is the one that got a double gold in the Blanc de Blanc category, and the 2017
got a double gold.
Yes. And the 2016
Got the library.
won the extended age category.
Yeah. So Newstead is something, if you haven't tasted before, I don't know how.
It's very difficult to get hold of in
Yeah,
Joburg.
I don't think they sell a lot in Johannesburg.
And you can get it off their website. And I
Or
think
maybe go and have a look. It's something interesting. It's something new, and that's what I think these competitions are brilliant at.
Yes.
Because we do all the hard work for you, and you just have to look at the results and go and buy. So that's Newstead, something to look at.
It's exquisite.
Then L'Ormeran Blanc de Blanc. I just want L'Ormeran to do well because I love Johan Rupert. He does his stuff for the wine industry. He really does. I don't know what he does anywhere else, and I don't care. But for the wine industry, he's just been amazing. And L'Ormeran is one of the most beautiful properties in the Cape.
Beautiful.
It's just gorgeous. If you haven't been, go. It's just, and we love Bear.
Yeah.
We love Bear.
Bear's busy competing for South Africa in France in the South African wine
I
tasting
know he's
championship.
showing off. I don't
Yes.
know. I told him it's
But-
unbecoming to show off. We don't like show
But
off.
Zani is a very talented winemaker who's really,
Yeah,
really
no,
coming
it's
into her own.
just-
And
We're lucky to have them.
And it's made at, what was previously Grandbeck Coastal Cellar.
That's quite right. Yeah.
And the cellar facilities are fantastic. And the biggest thing about L'Ormeran is it always gives you such a fantastic return on time. They keep everything from their very basic entry-level bubbles on the lees for way longer than they need to. And,
when you got a couple of 100 billion in the bank, you can.
and the private cuvee is something that it didn't feature here, but it's something to also look out for.
And that L'Ormeran bubbly, I love it. I just think we're very, very fortunate to have the Ruperts in the wine industry with us, and all the support that and they just lovingly pour back into the thing, and it just all this gorgeous stuff comes out. We love it. From Protea, which is produced by the billion bottle in wherever, to their Brut by the L'Ormeran Blanc de Blanc. It's nice wine. Double gold Brut, my Heidi Hearts.
But can we just talk a little bit more about the Laborie, that one?
Yes, you can. Tell everybody about it.
So
Everything about it.
that one, it really does. It's one of those ones that's around, but it flies under the radar, and the value for money is off the charts.
Well, it doesn't brag. It's not one of those. It's not one of those big braggart brands that says, "I'm me myself." Look at me and pound its chest. It quietly sits on the shelf, and you look at it and you think, Laborie? Hell, when last did I drink a Laborie? Who was Laborie again?
But it does, look, it performs consistently. If you look at it, featured at the Trophy Wine Show this year, and this is the 2017 vintage. The last time Laborie actually won the whole competition was in 2010 with their 2000 vintage. So they definitely have pedigree, and they have a track record. And sometimes we forget a little bit about them. And their whole range performed. Even their rosé got gold, their non-vintage got gold. So they
it's lovely
they
wine.
performed across the range.
It's
Except
lovely
if you
wine.
can get that 2017 Blanc de Blanc.
You won't get it.
Oh my goodness!
You're going to have to phone the farm. You're going to have to beg and plead and say Heidi said.
They have moved on to the 2018
I know,
vintage.
that's why you're not
already.
gonna get
But
it.
the thing is that going by 2018, I back it. Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
So, double gold Brut, Simon se Kaapse Vonkel.
2019.
2019 has to be one of the most famous bubbly labels in the country, hey? Kaapse Vonkel?
Yes, no, completely, the original. And the thing with Kaapse Vonkel is it's such a banker. Is you cannot go wrong if you buy a Kaapse Vonkel. I prefer it a little bit aged because they're on the 21 vintage now.
Yeah.
And they have what's called a vintage day often, and they'll bring out library wines. And that is where you really see how beautiful the wines get as they have a little bit of age on it. This wine is
they're bottled under
the
cork.
entry level, and it is the one that is completely intended for immediate drinking, But the thing is, if you can squirrel away a few bottles,
do we know how
it gets
many
better.
bottles Johan makes?
I don't know.
I want to find out for you because I think it's rude amounts of that stuff. It's rude amounts. And if you think, we'll give you a quick race through how you make bubbly. Heidi will do it for you in a minute. And I can, but I talk too much. So the way you do it is labor intensive and passion intensive, time intensive, and very capital intensive.
Experience.
So the capital that has to go in, And most of the time, you're not getting a return on your investment for a good 6 or 7 years.
No, yeah.
But we'll do the making in a minute. Pongras desiderius.
Yeah. 2015, I think, was it?
2015.
Yeah.
Pongras.
But the desiderius. It's
desiderius in that bottle that looks like it actually should be filled with bubble bath.
Yes, it's in the clear bottle that's always got the yellow cellophane around it. Look, that's another one that you overlook a lot of the time as being quite ordinary and everyday.
Well, we thought, distill, massive production, run-of-the-mill, blah. Won competitions all over the world, that wine.
Completely. And Scintilla, that also features.
Fabulous. Fabulous wine. So Pongras desiderius, Grambec Cuvée Clive.
So that really did, I think it was the Brut. Yes, so Claudia won with a 2017 vintage. That's Domaine de Deux. And that was just a hair's breadth away from Cuvée Clive.
Who is Clive at the end of the day?
Clive is...
we know. Does Anne know about Clive? Anne is Peter Ferreira's wife.
Yes. No,
why is he living probably
Clive was Graham's son.
Graham's son?
Graham Beck's son.
The one that died?
Yes.
Okay. Got it. I've just remembered that story.
Yeah. And that wine is our South Africa's...
I know.
Dom Perignon.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It's the most exquisite, complex.
It's expensive, though. You're going to pay lots of money for that.
Yeah, but still, only about as much as you pay for a bottle of champagne entry level.
Yeah, yeah. I was going to say.
The return on value, the value return is off the charts. Yeah.
Then double gold extended aging, Lawrenceford Cuvée, 12420, 1242011. What the hell is that?
124 months on the lees. Yes.
Really?
Yes. 124 months on the lees. It's a very, very interesting wine, and it's amazing how it stood the test of time.
Interesting. Yeah. Did you like it?
Well, I must have, because I was on the panel.
No, listen, you cannot like something and rate it because it's technically perfect.
Yes, it's a very interesting, and it really, the life in it is astounding for its time.
Well, I must just say, the other night, Heidi had a thing at the Indaba Hotel, to which I was invited. Yes, to which I was invited of some of these wines. And I tasted a couple of them, and I was very blown away by the freshness of all those wines. Some of them old. Some of them really had been lying about there. They're aging a lot better than you and me. And they
drink more of them.
They don't go to the Mass Beauty Salon every month either. They're aging well. And they're fresh, purity of fruit, clean, nice.
The extended age category, you've got to have your wine on the lees for at least 7 years. So 2016 was the youngest in that category. And the category was won by Newstead, which was a 2016. But there were some spectacular wines. That ring from Philip Jonker, which was 2013.
Now,
beautiful
the other
wine.
night,
That was the one that...
The other night, I was so looking forward to tasting that ring because I remember when that wine was first made, and I rated it as one of the top bubblies in South Africa. And I tasted it the other night, and I don't know if it was just the bottle or not, but it was a bit sort of disappointing to me.
I also think it was after what we'd had.
Do you think?
Preceding it, yeah. Because it really is, it's also
it should have been much better than that.
Much complex. I just have so much respect for those ones because it's exactly what you said, is that, every year I get up and I sound like I am a stuck record because I keep on saying is that Kaplasiek is on an amazing trajectory. It's the best it's ever been. We've got a record amount of entries, got a record amount of medals. And it's like, oh, yeah, is that just your hair?
Who's paying you to say this?
How many bubbles have you had in you? But it's really, really true, is with experience and time has come so much more understanding and also unique expression, Yeah. But some of those wines that we were talking about then are the wines that are showing themselves now in almost like I told you so,
Yes.
And I really have so much respect for the work that's been done, especially by the producers who dedicated to Kaplasiek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely a burgeoning...
It's a very expensive horse to back. Yeah.
I see Ken Forrester's Sparkle horse.
Got a gold. Yes.
How gorgeous is that?
Yeah.
That man. Everything he touches. Let's look through here. So if you want to, of these, I've got a friend called Heidi Oh, man. It's Monday.
Hide and go seek. Which to go seek? No.
If we were to tell anybody,
Yes.
if we were to give them 3, let's give them 6, because 3 is a bit hard.
I think you
But
should,
for Christmas.
to be honest, I would go and look for them all.
Of course you would.
The golds. So there's such a great list of, I think
There's a massive list of gold.
There's 24 golds there, and all of them are so, they were really worthy of merit. A huge merit. Some of the more interesting ones that I liked is the Mariette Blanc de Blanc.
Yes.
Very, very nice, from La Belle Rebelle.
Yes.
Very nice one. I really enjoyed that. The other thing is that you might notice that we haven't talked about the winning rosé or the winning nectar.
Yes.
And that's because both of those never got into the double gold territory.
I can't believe that. If I'd been judging, that nectar would have been in there. I love nectar. I know that it's supposedly common and baseless and all the rest. That nectar bubbly, and it's also a bit of a South African thing, really.
Yes. Oh, nectar. So nectar's very confusing to a lot of people because nectar began as being demi-sec, but nectar, the word, was borrowed from Moet. Yeah. However, it just so happened that Twee Jonge Gezellen has been calling their wines night nectar for many years.
Forever,
yes, and that wasn't their sparkling wine. So they started calling their demi-sec bubbly, night nectar. And from there it kind of became understood that this wine was made in the traditional same way as champagne. Right?
Yes.
So from there it started to be understood that a bottle fermented Cap Classique that was sweeter was also a nectar. So it's become its own category. Like it's organically just
everybody's got a nectar now.
But nectars can be, and they do range anywhere between 17 grams of sugar
and
per
30
litre.
something or 40.
No, to 49.
49, yeah.
So it can be a whole range of different styles within that nectar category.
But that's what I mean. Everybody thinks I'm being low class and common about nectar or demi-sec. But you choose your poison in any category, as we do. And in this nectar category, there are some that have got, 22, 23 grams of sugar per litre. It's not a huge amount. It's just sweet enough to take some of that hectic acidic bite out of the wine. And I keep telling everyone, if you go back on my programs 20 years, scrambled eggs and demi-sec on Sunday mornings is better than going to church. It's better for you. God has already told me that. Scrambled eggs and demi-sec or nectar, have it. But don't go and buy one of those like really, really, really sweety ones.
Even some of those are very nice. So
we like sticky. There's nothing wrong with sticky bubbly.
Some with about 37 grams per litre, 41 grams per litre. Extremely well balanced and extremely interesting and delicious. It's a really important category for Cap Classique. It's obviously the gatekeeper to many people's journey into the category, and there's more and more of them coming. I mean, there was only about 25 of them in the category in the competition.
There weren't that many.
But the one, Darling was a really interesting one because
Darling was delicious.
Yeah, very, very delicious, and also, kind of unexpected. You forget about Darling. Darling also really do really nice Blanc de Blanc, by the way.
Do they? Well, you know, who's my gorgeous boy up the West Coast there? I got so many.
One in every port.
Many in every port.
Darling.
Old Man's Ben. No, Grootepost.
Yes.
Have you tasted the bubbles from the Grootepost boys in Darling?
Yes.
They were absolutely extraordinarily nice. Really nice. You grab a couple of cases of those, you shoot up the West Coast, you rent one of those little cottages, you go like this in the sand in the morning and the oysters come up and you have oysters and bubbles. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
You have to go and do that.
Yes,
hey?
Absolutely.
That's what you've got to do. So you've got to go on
and then the rosé. We just need to talk about.
Talk about the rosé. I love pink bubbles.
Pink bubbles are lovely. They're the ones that you drink with your eyes before you drink with your mouth. But it's all over the place. So it's not bad. It's just you don't know what to expect. If you actually ask me, what does the typical what is a typical style for a rosé Cup Classique? I wouldn't be able to tell you. You know, the colours are all over the place. The expressions, the grape varieties used are all different. However, there are really, really good wines that are being made. And this year also a very unexpected wine, Louisville, their non-vintage.
Louisville. When last did we used to drink Louisville Chavant was the only wine. I don't even know who owns Louisville anymore. It's like flying seriously under the radar.
But they showed their rosé is very lovely. Real raspberries and cream.
See, that's what
obvious time on the lees and very fresh and delightful.
You said if you were to say what is rosé bubbly supposed to be, that's where I think we need to take our direction from France, because they really do make beautiful rosé bubbly. We do too. Mm-hmm. But raspberries and cream is exactly what I would have said. Mm-hmm. You've got to have that gorgeous, quite strong raspberry on
red fruit.
Ripe red fruit
with that
on the
creaminess.
Nose. Strawberries and raspberries with that lovely creamy mouthfeel. Mm-hmm. Oh, we want that. We definitely want that. So what rosés did you award before you went to the second round of judging or the final round of judging? Were there any awards handed out to rosé?
Yes, there were a couple of golds, and Louisville got a gold. So that got the trophy, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And there was another interesting one that I tasted subsequently called Hidden Valley Rosé. I really enjoyed that wine.
Hidden Valley makes some nice wine. But they sort of specialize in pinotage and stuff. Was it bubbly made out of pinotage?
I actually don't know. I'm not sure. But
don't they have to stipulate?
We know nothing about these, not one thing. We don't know the grape varieties. We don't know the vintages.
Oh, really?
We don't know the regions. We get given the wines completely blind. All we know is if it's spent under 30 months on the lees or over 30 months on the lees, and we know the category.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, cheers to you and your panel and to Amarim, South Africa, for sort of supporting us the way they do. It's very worth your while to go online. Just pop onto the Amarim. It's AMORIM, Amarim challenge. And all the results are there. And you know with certainty that you can buy any one of those bubblies and love it. There wasn't, just before we finish on that, there wasn't an Ultra Brut that came in anywhere, was there?
No, a lot of them were Ultra Brutes. They're just not labelled as Ultra Brut. Most of them are actually under 3 grams per litre. The Laborie was around 7, so it's a Brut. But a lot of the Blanc de Blancs are under 3, or under 5.
That's when I start sneaking around the demi-sec shelf. Because I like Ultra Brut, but if I want to brush my teeth, I'll use toothpaste. Mm-hmm. So those are so fresh, and the acid is so high on those wines that you honestly can brush your teeth with them.
But I think that you'll find within the winners, there's a really nice spread of styles. As in, there's definitely those rich goût anglais, those rich nutty.
That's what I like. Bollinger. I want Bollinger in my mouth.
If you like that style, there's definitely that represented. If you like a more crisp, clean, tighter version, then you'll find that too. And Claudia for me is a beautiful balance of both of those. Those, that Cup Classique to me is one of the definitive.
Claudia.
Yeah, it's won 5 times.
It's Dieudonné.
No, it's Domaine de Deux.
Domaine de Deux.
Domaine de Deux. In the Hemel and Arde Valley. And, Megan's husband is the viticulturist. So that vineyard is spectacular. And whatever they're doing with their bubbles, they're doing right.
Yeah.
But don't get confused, because Claudia is in a green bottle and it's got a pinkish label, and a lot of people think it's rosé.
And it's got a pink foil on the top as well, I think.
A rose gold.
So it looks like it. But you know what? Even if you make a mistake and you buy a rosé one by mistake, drink both of them. They're both nice.
But invite Claudia for Christmas.
Claudia for Christmas.
Yeah.
Claudia with turkeys and...
It's outstanding. Yeah. Okay. But the nice thing as well is that there's so, we could speak about this for 2 hours or even longer. If we had bubbles here, we wouldn't stop.
All day.
But the collaboration that the Cape Wine Academy now has with the Cup Classique Producers Association, where we launched the Cup Classique Academy, that is really doing so much good in spreading the joy of Cup Classique and how much it has to offer. So that first star course, we've had now over 250 first stars.
Have you?
Yes. And we're getting ready to launch the second level, which is the Rising Star, in April next year. And that is going to delve into these different categories. So you'll be able to really understand how these different styles are emerging in South Africa and the different styles within the styles. But the common golden thread is time. Those producers who take the patience to just wait until their wines are really presenting with a perfect balance and complexity.
Exact balance, I know. Because, especially with those things that require time like that, and there's a very special magical thing about yeast. I like yeast. And I've always said, when I'm old, I'm going to spend some time, I'm going to do a white paper or a doctorate or a thesis or something on yeast, because I think yeast is magic stuff. And I think that it is one of the single biggest contributors to good wine. Sparkling still, everything. Yeast. You have to be careful what you use. Why am I telling you this whole long story about yeast?
It's the mother.
God's sakes, I don't know. What were we talking about?
No, we were talking about learning more. There's so much to
about
learn.
Learning more, but the yeast, what it does to the wine in that bottle while it's undergoing. We haven't even told them about how you make this stuff.
Well, that's first start courses for that.
Yeah, that's first start. You've got to go on one of Heidi's courses. But so the wine undergoes what we call a second fermentation inside the bottle. And it's as a result of that yeast, and it's as a result of all of that you leave it, and it lies on the little yeasty cells that are all now supposedly dead and dying. There's dormant. I think they're still injecting their Botox into that wine for a long time. And that's what ends up giving this wine this resultant golden colour and that toastiness.
Well, more the toastiness and the autolysis is what they call it.
Yeah,
yes. Yeah. So it's the creaminess, the richness, the nuttiness, the toastiness.
Yeah.
It's something that
and the balance.
And the balance. Well, it's complexity.
It's complexity that comes. So you don't end up opening a bottle of wine that's, I always say, it's like puppies in a pillowcase. So the acid's here and the fruit's there and the oak's there and the yeast is there, and you know what I mean? It's all gone together nicely inside the bottle. So these things are all going to be delicious, and it is coming Christmas time, and you're going to go online and have a look. But now I'm trying to get to this Cape Wine Academy. The Cape Wine Academy is about 40-something years old, I think. 43. And it's become pretty much part of the skeleton of the South African wine industry, and it's been run by several people over the 43 years of its existence, and it's been funded by different people over the 43 years of its existence. And we're forever grateful to whomever puts their hand in their pocket, because it's a very meaningful thing. Because as with anything, knowledge honestly is power, and you cannot be stripped of anything. Not racially, not sexually, nothing. They can't discriminate against you at all if you're clever. So just be cleverer than everybody and you won't be picked on, End of story. And we just need to make sure that everybody is as educated as they possibly can be. And Heidi works long, hard, amazing hours towards making that happen. She's making all kinds of changes within the academy.
Well, I hope not too many of these
which
days,
you can tell us about. And I would personally recommend that if you're even vaguely interested in wine, there's a course to sort of fit any person's desires within the industry. If you don't want to become one of us, I hope we're not ever deemed to be one of those wine geeks.
Wine bores.
That becomes a crushing bore.
You just don't want to be a bore.
Don't want to be that. But there are courses that go from, what's your shortest course?
The South African wine course.
It's just
it's just 3 hours. No, 3 hours.
3 hours. So it's your thing. You tell them what's available and how you do it and where they get hold of you and all that sort of. It's really worthwhile, guys.
Well, the thing about learning about wine is the more you learn, the more you want to learn. So if you've got the vaguest curiosity, and you want to just like be more conversant at a dinner party, or else just ask questions that you've always wondered about. It really is worth seeking out, because it does become, it's very contagious, and it really is something that you want to know more and more about. Otherwise, you take from it what you want, and then you just, you enjoy wine as a simple beverage, which is also fine. But the thing is that the more you know about it, the more we get South Africans to appreciate, first of all, what we have in our own country, as well as in the context of the rest of the world, as well as responsibly. So what the Cape Wine Academy's greatest mission is to teach people about South African wine. And that's what makes us different to the other things that you can learn about. You can go, go to the South African Sommeliers Association, and through various means you can learn about service, or you can go to the Wine and Spirit Education Trust and learn about global wine. But what makes us really unique is that we specialize in South African wine within a global context and within a hospitality scene. So it's really important to us to spread the love of South African wine, to keep the narrative going and the correct narrative, and to make people just really appreciate what South Africa has to offer. So there's a core journey which starts with the South African wine course, which is a bit like a Tinder date. You know, you're interested, but you're not sure how interested you are. You go on this date, and I
don't know which way you're supposed to swipe. Do you swipe right for yes, no for left? I don't know. But swipe right, guys. I think, Brennan, what do you swipe? Brennan's pretending he doesn't know. But
just go the right way. And then the next level is the certificate wine course that gets a little bit more crunchy, and you get more into the regions, and you have an exam. You have a tasting exam and a written exam. And then you can go into the diploma level course, which you should do over 2 years.
I was going to say, how long is the diploma? It used to be Diploma 1 and Diploma 2.
Yes.
Is it still like that?
It's still over 2 years, but it's in 4 parts. So you can
break them into modules.
Correct. And you can do it you can actually do it over 5 years, but most people do it over 2. And if you really, really want to, rise to the top, then that's when you do Cape Wine Master.
You come and sit in here with you and me for half an hour.
Yeah. You did the Cape Wine Master program afterwards, that's the Institute of Cape Wine Masters. Cape Wine Academy facilitates the exams for them. And you get 5 years to do that. That's a tough program.
I was going to say, how long does that take?
You get 5 years to complete it.
And that includes a thesis?
Correct. Well, there's 4 written exams, there's 4 tasting exams, there's a dissertation, and there's a presentation.
And that also includes brandy, hey?
Includes brandy, and it's all distilled products. Yes. So it's a very challenging program, and it really does appeal to anybody who really does like to interact with wine on a cerebral level. But you've got to start with South African wine course and then go up. And then, of course, we have our short courses, which are things like faulty wine workshops, brandy workshops, and smaller courses, food and wine. And then we also have the Cape Classique Academy. But recently we found a home. I'm so happy.
Where's our new home? Where's
our home is in Stellenbosch. And it's in...
Of course it is.
Well, the Cape Wine Academy had to exist in the Cape first. Right?
All the money's in Johannesburg, darling.
But it's coming. We're looking for a home in Joburg.
We're not going to come down to Cape Town to come and help you there.
But our new home has really given us such a great... place in order to teach, to share, and to experience wine. So
where in Stellies are you?
It's in the Oudtshoorn, so it's in a very traditional building.
Oh, lovely.
But it's been restored and it's on the first floor. And we have regular courses as well as tastings and experiences. So are you moving to Stellenbosch now? I'm practically most people in Stellenbosch think I'm there already. No, it's imminent. I've just got to get my last child.
So the child went down to university. As soon as the next one goes, I'm sure you've gone.
I think you might find me there.
It's also not a shabby place to be. So there are there's a very clean, Heidi-like, clean and tidy and efficient web page here. I'm looking for you on the Cape Wine Academy's website, and it tells you exactly and clearly how you can do this thing and how you can make yourself a little bit more interesting and a little bit more interested in wine. And it's not wildly expensive either. It's a fabulous hobby. Believe me, I turned my hobby into a job, and I've had fun for 35 years, hey? Haven't we?
If for anyone who's doing it professionally, it definitely can open doors. And we have, our byline is that everyone's welcome. As long as you're 18, everyone's welcome. And so I really do believe that if you want to learn about wine, you need to just speak to me, because we do, we're a non-profit, so we do have...
I think we need to change that. Who
We have
wants a non-profit
bursars.
organisation?
Well,
why would you want that, Heidi?
Because we want to make wine education
Yeah.
accessible. No, we want to make wine education accessible, and we really want to be able to put whatever profit we do make back into that, and to grow the love of wine and the responsible consumption, because we don't want to lose our jobs ever again.
No, and we've got a massive drinking problem in South Africa. We really, really do have a massive drinking problem in South Africa. It's one of my things. I'm going to speak to those boys in government and change the legal drinking limit. You can only get drunk when you're 21.
Well,
At least you've voted by then sober. 'Cause I think that's half our problem. Everybody's voting drunk in South Africa. What do you think?
it's an interesting take
You
on
know me
things.
and my theories. Heidi.
Well, that's why you need Cut Classique.
Heidi, Cut Classique is another thing I was going to tell you. Low in alcohol, low in sugar. It is the perfect alcoholic's drink. Because you're not going to get fat and you're not going to get drunk in a hurry.
Well,
So if you're trying to be good, if you're trying not to drink too much or get too fat from alcohol, bubbly's what you drink.
although the bubble does get the alcohol into your bloodstream
Quicker.
faster, so less of it does the job.
Less of it does the job. There's no reason not to like it. Honestly, there's no reason not to like it. What did
Napoleon?
not Napoleon?
Who?
He was defeat and war and whatever. It was the damn
In victory,
Clico.
you've earned it, and in defeat, you need it. No,
That
Madame-
was Winston Churchill, wasn't it? Or was it
No,
Bonaparte?
that was Napoleon.
No, Madame Clico, wasn't she the one who said she
No,
drinks it
that
when
is
she's happy? She's
Madame
Bollinger.
Lily, Madame Lily Bollinger.
Bollinger. No, she drank it all the time.
all the time.
And interestingly enough, before we stop rabbiting on, one of the things that I love about champagne or bubbly is that it's been a wonderful vehicle for many women in our industry to drive. And if you have a look at the history of bubbles, in France, most of the beautiful champagne houses, not only driven, but
Were a result of a powerhouse.
were the
of
result
ladies,
of a powerhouse of a woman behind them. So it's just, for me, it's a very feminine sort of a product. I know we're not allowed to say that, but I do say whatever I want to say here because it's my show. And it is feminine, but it's like Savannah.
Huh?
It's dry, but you can drink it.
I thought you meant, no. It's a
Waiting
lot-
for
it's-
some ghastly thing to come out of my mouth.
But I think the most important thing is, like, if you think about sitting around at lunch table with friends or with family and you're having wine, that's very nice. But when you open a bottle of bubbly, I mean, it changes the whole mood.
Becomes an occasion.
So I just love it because it's fun, and it jumps out the glass and into your heart. And so many of our rituals in life are,
Emotionally driven.
emotionally attached to sparkling wine or champagne or Cut Classique. So it's just it really is a landmark of all the best moments in your life.
It is.
If you
But
make it happen.
also doesn't have to. It doesn't have to only denote excellence, although it normally does. Excellence or celebration is always marked by champagne or bubbly. But just turn every day into a bubbly day. Quite honestly, every day can be a celebration if you keep a bottle in your fridge. That's all you have to do. Heidi, you are the queen of bubbles in South Africa. I love you. Thank you for coming.
It's such a pleasure.
Thank you
We've got
for being
bottles and
here.
eyes waiting to happen.
We got so many things to celebrate.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
It's such a
It's
pleasure.
been
Thank
fabulous.
you for
and
your
guys,
invitation.
honestly, the winners of the Amarim thing, do take cognizance of them, because I know that you'll all find at least one that you want to put on your Christmas table or your whatever table it is that you celebrate at the end of the year. So go and have a look at that. And then pop onto the Cape Wine Academy website too, because it's got loads of things to do that can brighten your life and make you feel cleverer and nicer next year. Thank you very much for spending some time with us. We hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you, Carrie.